I do apologise there, ladies and gentlemen. I actually swear that I was talking for the last 2 minutes, so I apologise for that. But I was just saying there that we've got a very even field here in terms of LMP2s and GTEs. 7 GTE cars, 8 LMP2 cars. Champ setting the pace for the LMP2s, and Laney, former touring car runner-up, setting the pace for the GTEs. But ladies and gentlemen, we're about to go lights out here for the second round of the multi-class series here on Project Cars 2 Motive. Champ will be leading us away. He'll be hoping he doesn't get punted off into turn 1 like he did last time out at Monza. But La Source can be a tricky first corner, quite similar to the first corner at Monza actually. It's very open, and there's always a chance that if somebody misses their braking point, then it could wreak havoc for the entire pack. So let's hope and pray that doesn't happen here tonight. Let us know in the comments who your pick is for the race win. Guys, we've got Leon Fernie in the comments talking about the audio. Thankfully we're on now, so that's all sorted out, as is Champ, Phil and Leon all just notifying me now of that, so we've got that one sorted out, thank goodness for that. Just over a minute left to go. Champ will be lining up on pole with Sebas in second, X-Mart and Civic lining up on the second row behind them. We've got our Formula 1 2020 champion here at Motive, Just Jose, lining up on the third row with Diabetic Lamb, one of our former commentators lining up alongside him. DJ Phil rounding out the LMP2 class with Erafford alongside him. Then we've got Laney leading the way for the GTE class in 9th overall. First in the GTEs, second in the GTEs will be the Mutsnuts, Beambasher and Nicky lining up behind these two, with Grandad Steve, Falguest and Leon Fernie rounding out the GTE class here for tonight's action. 30 seconds left to go until lights out here at Spa. Always a bit of a thriller as Spa, probably a little bit more exciting than what we saw at Monza last week, and Monza threw up a few thrills and spills, but with 15 cars out on the track, and it's not the easiest to overtake here at Spa, so it might be, I mean it's easy enough, you know, it's quite a wide track, but it might be tricky coming through that middle sector when the LMP2 cars are coming around to put a lap on those GTEs. It could get pretty spicy, but here we go, 5 seconds to ready up. Let's hope that everybody ready's up in time, otherwise they will be missing out and not taking the start. Hopefully everybody's seen it. I think we up, yep, everyone's ready up, so we've got 15 cars taking to the start. Here we go, engine revs rise. We're about to go lights out here for the second round of the multi-class series at Motive Racing, and it is lights out and away we go. Champ gets away well. Sebas looks like he was slightly bogged down. He's got X-Mart looking to his inside, coming into that source. X-Mart's going to have that position, I think, up into second place, or is Sebas going to hold it around the outside? I think actually Sebas does hold on to the position there, so it's Champ first, Sebas second, X-Mart third at the moment. Civic tucking in behind them, Just Jose in fifth, with DJ Phil has made up a position there, getting ahead of Diabetic Lamb up into P6. Erafford just behind them. Beambasher leads the way for the GTEs. He's got ahead of Laney and the Mutsnuts. Great start from Beambasher up into the lead. Falguest running in fourth, has made positions on Nicky and Grandad Steve, and Leon Fernie rounding out the field at the moment. But Champ leads the way, coming up towards Lacombe. Flash the lights there from Sebas, trying to get into the head of Champ if he can. Champ covers that one off in towards Lacombe. X-Mart there behind him. Civic's got Just Jose looking to his inside. Civic's made the position. Sorry, Just Jose made the position there on Civic up into fourth place. Great stuff there as he goes flying into the air. Oh my goodness! Sebas there gets launched up into orbit and returns to the track, similar to what we saw with Fury in the LMP2s a few seasons ago. The GTE cars spun out there. That's Beambasher losing out after a great start to this race. He's down to the back of the pack in the early stages of the race. Not the ideal start for him after such a promising getaway there. Champ clear away at the front with Sebas's release from the Kennedy Space Centre there. X-Mart currently sat in P2. Just Jose goes really wide there, coming through Bouin. We've got Diabetic Lambs made his way up into fourth place here. Good opening lap there for him. Civic, Erafford, DJ Phil. Then we've got the Mutsnuts leading the way for the GTEs. He's pulled out about a second back to Laney, who's trying to defend here from Grandad Steve. Steve having a look to the inside here, coming in towards Campus. There he covers that one off though. Sebas is trying to make some hay here, trying to get through the pack of the GTE cars if he can. He's made his way up into 11th place overall. Nicky, Leon Fernie has made a couple of positions up on Falguest and Beambasher running a little way behind these guys now. He's got work to do in this race. Champ though out in front. 3.6 is his gap over Xmart. He's controlling this race out the front at the moment. His champion looks pretty much in control for now. Just Jose has got Diabetic Lamb looking all over his mirrors here as they come up towards the bus stop chicane. Diabetic Lamb looking to the outside. Looks like Just Jose's going to try and cover that one off. Just Jose's picked up a penalty from the race director by the looks of it. Side by side out to the start finish straight, and Diabetic Lamb spun it. He's lost the car coming out onto the start finish straight, and he spins it around just in front of DJ Phil. DJ Phil moves up into 6th. MF into 5th. Diabetic Lamb living dangerously there, but gets away with that one without any contact with other drivers. Lucky there for him, as we see Granad Stee loses it out of the bus stop, and he's down to last place there. Falguest and Beambush are both gaining positions there, as it's the Mutsnuts still leading the way for the GTEs, and he's not too far behind Sebas in the LMP2s either. He's currently got Laney hunting him down there, currently running in 2nd in class. We've got Nicky and Leon Fernie, Falguest and Beambush are all very, very close, and Granad Stee to the back after that little skirmish there that we saw coming out of the bus stop chicane. Champ though leads the field. 1st in class and 1st in the overall classification as well. 4.5 seconds he's got over Xmart at the front. Just Jose dropping off the back of Xmart a little bit, but he's still got Civic very, very close in contention at the moment. Absolutely gripping stuff here in the opening couple of laps of this race. Mafford dropping off the back of the battle between Just Jose and Civic just a little bit. He's got DJ Phil not too far behind him. The Mutsnuts currently leading the GTE class, and he's got ahead of Sebas. Sebas really struggling in the LMP2 class tonight, not having a good opening couple of laps, that is for sure. Diabetic Lamb running in. Well, he's actually dropped back now. He's dropped behind the Mutsnuts, so the Mutsnuts doing a great job here in the GTE. He's making good progress as we see Sebas there making a move to the inside of the Mutsnuts, riding on board with Diabetic Lamb just behind these as they come into Pouen. But Mutsnuts doing a great job right now. He's got 2 seconds back to this man Laney, who's running 2nd in the GTE class. Nicky there sat in 3rd. Falguest currently all over the back of Nicky, looking to get onto the podium here. Looking to the inside, coming into campus, too far back just at the moment. Leon Fernie watching them in the distance there. Beambasher trying to get this move done on Leon Fernie. He's gone into the back of him, and he's round. Beambasher spins around, coming through campus, and he's going to lose out. Grandad Steve moves up in position there. He was just trying to go late on the brakes and get the move done there on Leon Fernie. It hasn't paid off, and he's dropped down to the back of the pack there. Beambasher having a total nightmare in that exchange, as Just Jose and Civic are still fighting it out for 3rd place at the moment in the LMP2 class. Out on the last corner, out onto the start finish straight. Still as you were, Just Jose holding on in that little battle there. Laney and Nicky look like they're separated by not too much. The Mutsnuts has pulled out a bit of a gap to Laney. 3 seconds he's got out the front at the moment as they're coming into the bus stop. Falguest having a little look to the inside of Nicky, can't get it done at the moment. Tucks in behind for now. But close cagey racing here in the opening few laps as Granad Steel. Oh, he's lost it coming out of the bus stop. Oh no, he's onto the grass. He's going to lose out. Beambasher will move up into, will take the position off of him as Granad Steve's having a total mare coming through that section of the track. And he's now down to the back of the pack here. Disaster there as Granad Steve moves ahead of Leon Fernie and up into some clean air. Leon Fernie having a bit of a nightmare there coming through La Source, and he's now down to the back of the pack here. But at the moment it's Champ leading the overall classification. He's got almost 9 seconds of a gap here over Xmart, who's just plugging away, keeping going, but he's pulling away from Civic, but losing hand over fist to Champ right now. Civic still running in 3rd place. He's got M. Afford there just behind. There's DJ Phil 3 seconds off of the back of M. Afford. Sebas has had another mistake. He's in the wall. Oh no, Sebas has made a mistake coming out of the corner with no name. Diabetic Lamb moves up into P6. Sebas still struggling to get it going. He is now moving, but he's not too far ahead of the GTE class runners. The Mutsnuts still running in 8th place at the moment. Laney there sat in 2nd with Nicky Falguest still battling it out over 3rd place at the moment. They're a little way ahead of Beambasher, who's had a difficult race. He made a great start up into the lead for the GTE class at the start, but then dropped off a bit. He's only 8 seconds off of the lead though overall for the GTE, so still not all doom and gloom. Grandad Steve running in 13th. Leon Fernie sat in P14 at the moment. Just Jose though has had a horror show. What's happened to Just Jose? I didn't even catch what happened to him there. He was battling with Civic a little while ago. He's now down in last place, so I didn't actually catch what happened there. But Just Jose really struggling at the moment, not having the best of races at this stage. He's closing up onto the back of Leon Fernie. He'll be looking to try and get through this GTE pack as soon as he can, but he's almost a minute off of the race leader Champ. So clearly something has gone horribly wrong there. So Champ leads X Mark by 10 seconds. Civic sat in 3rd place right now, currently 16 seconds off for the race leader Champ. There's Amathid sat in 4th, he's 24 seconds off of the leader Champ. He's a couple of seconds ahead of DJ Phil at the moment, so he's currently got reasonable enough buffer back to Phil. Phil's got 6 seconds back to Diabetic Lamb, who's still running in P6 right now, and seems to be lapping a little bit quicker than the guys up ahead of him. He's lapping quicker than Amathid and DJ Phil on the last lap, so Diabetic Lamb starting to get it down, starting to get into a little bit of a rhythm. You've got the Mutt running in the lead of the GTE class still. Laney's taken a bit of time back on that last lap though, gained a couple of tenths on the Mutt. He might be bringing himself back into contention there as the night is falling and the track temperatures are starting to get a little bit cooler. Sebas making his way through past the GTE runners once again, getting ahead of Laney. He's going to be looking at getting past the Mutt as soon as he can, but unfortunately for him, the Kemmel straight runs out a little bit too prematurely for him to get the move done on Mutt. Nicky there still sat in 3rd in the GTE class, with Falguest in 4th. Grandad Steve still running in 5th place right now. Just Jose of the LMP2 class not having the best of races there, behind Grandad Steve. Leon Fernie and Beanbasher in the pits. I wonder what's going on there. Is he just bringing it in early? Does he reckon he can go to the end on 1 tank of fuel? That might be a bit of a stretch. I know that the full tank isn't going to go the hour. Maybe, just maybe, it might manage to go 52 minutes. It's going to be very, very difficult though. That would be ambitious, to say the least. Champ though, your leader. Currently 11 seconds he's got ahead of Xmark. Looks like Amathid's dropped back into the clutch of DJ Phil a little bit. These two separated by about 0.2 of a second right now. And they're coming into the bus stop chicane, and it looks like DJ Phil having a look to the inside. Amathid covers that one up, but he goes a little bit deep into the chicane, and I think that DJ Phil's going to drive around the outside of him. He does, yes he does. He manages to get that one done. DJ Phil up into 4th place. Great move there around the outside. Cut Amathid off, and Amathid did well there to see that one coming. And DJ Phil up a position. Really well done there from DJ Phil. These guys only about 5-6 seconds ahead of Diabetic Lamb, who's still running in P6 at the moment. Sebas sat in 7th place right now. Last of the LMP2 cars, barring just Jose obviously. But he's currently 10 seconds ahead of the Mutt and starting to gap these guys a little bit. The Mutt gap to Laney, not as big as it was. Looks like he's closed up a bit. The Mutt only just over a second ahead of Laney now. Laney took another half a second out of him on that lap, so Laney's starting to really get some good lap times in here and could be potentially on for a class win here in the GTEs. DJ Phil's managed to pull quite a long way ahead of Amathid. Now Amathid's made a mistake there. Noticing on the timing screen there, he's dropping back into the clutches of Diabetic Lamb a little bit, so he's going to have to watch out because Diabetic Lamb is breathing down his neck here in this battle for 5th place. Mutt and Laney still separated by not much, but Mutt has pulled out a little bit more in this first sector. I wonder if maybe that Ferrari's just got a little bit more straight line speed there than the Chevy that Laney's in. He's running a bit of a way ahead of Falguest right now. Falguest sat in that final podium spot for the GTEs. He's got ahead of Nicky. Nicky's also been passed by the LMP2 car of just Jose. Grandad Steve still running in 13th place, a long way off of the class leader. Well, I say a long way, only 14 seconds off of the class leader, the Mutt. And over the course of a long race such as this, it's an hour race. We're only 10 minutes into this one, just over 10 minutes in. It's still a long time for Grandad Steve to potentially bring himself back into this one. And we know how much of a quick driver Grandad Steve is. He took the win in the GTE class last week, so he's currently leading the GTE championship for this multi-class series, and he's also teammates with Falguest. I know it can't be actually because they're in the same car. I can't remember who Steve's teammate is. I don't think he's chosen one yet, but yeah, he's currently leading the GTE class at the moment. Beanbasher sat in last in the overall classification right now, a long way off. So Champ's still leading this race in the LMP2 category right now. He's currently got an 11-second lead over Xmart at the front, so it looks like he's got this under control. Having said that though, last time around Xmart was a little bit quicker than Champ by 9/10 of a second, and in fact Civic actually almost matching Xmart there, so he's not too far off in third place. There's 18 seconds separating the top three at the moment. Champ seems to have this one under control though for now. That was a hiccup, by the way. DJ Phil still sat in 4th place. He's 5 seconds ahead of Edford, who's running in P5 at the moment. He's got 7 seconds back to Diabetic Lamb, running in 6th place for the time being. He's then got 4 seconds back to Sebas, who is now starting. It looks like he's finally getting into a bit of a rhythm here. He was so quick in the qualifying session, but then got into the race and he's just been making catalogue of errors. But maybe now he's just starting to get it together once again. And I would hesitate to suggest that maybe Champ may have made a couple of mistakes, because I think the gap is a bit less to the leaders than what it to the rest of the pack than what it was. I'm not sure. We'll have to keep an eye on that. Actually, no, last time around Champ did a 2:05 dead, so it doesn't look like his pace is dropping off at all. Maybe that's just my my brain. But Xmot's still running in 2nd place right now. He's got 6 seconds back to Civic, sat in 3rd. DJ Phil, still your man, sat in 4th place. These guys, the LMP2 leaders, have put a lap on Beam Basher, who's still going at the moment. He's made his pit stop, and now this crucial thing is that Beam Basher, if he's got enough fuel to get to the end, will come back at the other GTE runners towards the end of the race. He was only about 20 seconds off of the class lead when he came in to make his stop, so definitely don't be ruling out Beam Basher. I know he's running in last place right now. He's just actually, as we speak, he's just unlapped himself there on one of the LMP2 runners, which would appear to be Civic. So Civic's made a little mistake there. Beam Basher's unlapped himself. Civic will be coming through to put that lap back on him in a moment. But yeah, don't count out Beam Basher. That's what I'm trying to say here, because he's been into the pits. He hasn't really got to do any. Hasn't got to come in as far as we know again. So he's on a road to somewhere right now. Where that is, we're not quite sure, but we'll have to see. As we've got Diabetic Lamb has been overtaken by Sebas. Sebas now into some clean air. He's going to try and chase down M. Afford. Diabetic Lamb's been a bit inconsistent over the course of this race. He's had moments where he's started to get it together, and then he just other moments where it looks like he's dropped off a little bit. He's currently losing time. Sebas is reeling in M. Afford. Sebas is the 2nd fastest driver out on track. It's a real shame that he had the start to the race that he had, because if it hadn't happened like that for him, I reckon he could have been up there challenging Champ for the overall lead. Obviously, without Maze Gamer here tonight, this is a chance for Champ to exert his authority in the LMP2 class. Oh, as we see M. Afford there getting a little bit loose, coming through Stavilo, and that's given Sebas the position up into 5th place there. M. Afford just getting a little bit hesitant coming through that section of the track. Diabetic Lamb still running here in 7th place, 3 seconds off of the back of M. Afford. Champ is your leader by 17 seconds over Xmart and continuing to dominate this race. 4 seconds quicker than Xmart on their previous lap was Champ. Civic still running in 3rd place, just 13 seconds off of the back of Xmart at the moment. M. Afford has got Diabetic Lamb very close behind him now. Let's ride on board with Diabetic Lamb and see what he's seeing as we come down the start-finish straight up towards La Source. He's going to want to try and get a good run coming out of La Source, because it can set you up for the run coming up all the way up this hill. As we see, that's M. Afford there getting a horrible run coming out of La Source, and Diabetic Lamb swoops up the inside up into 6th place. Did not need a second invitation there, very easily done, and he didn't need to wait for the camel straight. He just made his move there and then. But this could turn the tables a little bit if M. Afford can get a little bit of a tow. And in fact, Diabetic Lamb getting a horrible run there coming through Radion, and M. Afford's back up the inside, back up into 6th place. These two having a great little fight here as Sebas disappears off into the distance there in 5th place. M. Afford there getting a little bit loose onto the grass, coming up in towards the Coombe. For now, Diabetic Lamb cannot capitalise on that and do anything about it. Let's go back to the GTE class though, see what these guys are up to. We've got the Mutts Nuts still running in the class lead. He's pulled out a bit of a gap to Laney, not too much. 4/10 quicker was the Mutts Nuts than Laney on that last lap around, so Mutts Nuts is doing a very, very solid job at the moment. Laney keeping tabs with him though, not allowing him to run off at the moment. Laney obviously a very accomplished racer here at Motive, races regularly in our Clios and also in the touring cars. Last season's runner-up in the touring car championship. We know he's got a lot of talent behind the wheel, so let's see if he can give the Mutts Nuts a good fight here in this race. He's 8 seconds ahead of Falguest. Falguest 13 seconds off of the class lead. Nicky not too far to the back of Falguest. These two seem to be having a good battle here for the podium spot for the GTEs. We've got Grandad Steve and Beam Basher. No, sorry, that's not Grandad Steve and Beam Basher even. That's his Grandad Steve being lapped there by Champ. So Champ moving ahead of him. Obviously different classes, LMP2 and GTE. But one thing I'm noticing here is that the GTE class is actually pretty close. Beam Basher was about 15-20 seconds off of the class leader, the Mutts Nuts, when he came into the pits, and I'm noticing he's keeping that gap very consistent. He's actually matching the Mutts Nuts right now, if not actually bettering him on certain laps. So Beam Basher is very much in the equation. Don't rule him out. He's already been into the pits. He's got enough fuel to get to the end. As we see him riding the wall there though. Oh no, he's hit the invisible wall. Oh no, he's hit the invisible wall coming through El Rouge. Has he got a reset button? I don't know. That has gone horribly wrong there for him. He has got a reset button. He's got it going. He's lost about at least 15, maybe 20 seconds there, though. I was just going to say that the GTE class looking pretty tight. I mean, you've got the Mutts Nuts leading it by 5 seconds back to Laney, but the gap from the Mutts Nuts all the way down to Grandad Steve is 14 seconds, and I was about to say Beam Basher would definitely be in that as well, but with that little moment there, probably not. But you've got 5 drivers in the GTE category, separated by not much, with still a lot of this race left to go. And I know that Grandad Steve's definitely got the pace to come back at these guys. Obviously last week's GTE winner at Monza, Nicky's going to be giving Falguest a good run for his money, and Falguest has definitely got the pace to take the fight to the Mutts Nuts and Laney. The Mutts Nuts though pulled out a bit of a gap to Laney on that lap, just over a second quicker than him, so he's eking out that lead just for the time being, and looks like Beam Basher's retired from the race. That is a real shame there for Beam Basher, probably just down to hitting that invisible wall coming up through El Rouge. He had a lot of work to do as it was, but I think that's pretty much put a nail in his chances of actually coming back in this race. So he's out of this race. That is a shame there for Beam Basher. He'll score no points for this one because we're only a third of the way into the race. But the Mutts Nuts still the GTE class leader. Champ's still leading the way in the LMP2s. 20 seconds he's got over Xmark. Diabetic Lamb's been passed back by Amafford, but he's still sticking with him. But Amafford was a couple of seconds quicker than him on that previous lap. Just Jose hunting the leaders down a little bit, and just Jose actually going quicker than the drivers from 5th, 6th and 7th, DJ Phil, Amafford and Diabetic Lamb. So now he's come into that pit, he's made that pit stop early, and he's now trying to chase down the lower runners in the LMP2 class. Let's see if he can maybe get himself back up into, I'd say he can get himself back up into 5th if he keeps doing what he's doing right now. If he keeps pushing, keeps delivering the lap times he is, then I see no reason why just Jose couldn't pick up a P5 here in this race. He's 30 seconds behind DJ Phil. He's lapping considerably quicker than him at the moment, so I can see no reason why just Jose couldn't pick up a P5 here in this race. I think P4 is a bit beyond him. Sebas is doing some very solid laps himself, even though he's a fair way behind Civic, who's sat in that podium spot in 3rd. But Diabetic Lamb closing up onto the back of Amafford a little bit. Over the course of that lap, he was 3 seconds quicker than Amafford, and he's really ragging that car there coming out of the exit of Radion. Up the Camel Straight he comes. He's going to have a bit of slipstream here on Amafford. Is he going to be able to use it to a positive effect coming up to Lacombe? Can't quite get close enough. I think that Amafford's got less downforce on his car, and it's helping him in those sections of the track. Oh, as Amafford goes, did he go straight on though? I'm sure he went straight on. He did. Amafford has gone straight on coming through the corner after Lacombe, and he's lost out there. Diabetic Lamb's up into 6th place, so Amafford there making a little mistake, and Diabetic Lamb moves up a position. He was lapping a bit quicker than him. Diabetic Lamb was putting in some scorchers there, was 3 seconds quicker than Amafford on the previous lap, and Amafford's been forced into a mistake. Just Jose just 13 seconds off of this battle and continuing to reel these guys in, although last time around actually just Jose had a horror show of a lap, 2 minutes 17 on that last lap, only just a little bit quicker than the GTE cars, so not ideal at all for him. The Muttnut's still continuing to lead the way in the GTE class, and he's currently the fastest man in class as well. Lapping in the 2:18 consistently. Laney dropping off him a little bit. He's currently 6 or 7 seconds behind the Muttnuts at the moment. Nicky has got a train of cars behind him. Falgest and Grandad Steve very, very close in contention. In fact, hold on, that's an LMP2 car there putting a lap on them. So that is XmecOnline there putting a lap on Nicky and Falgest. Nicky will see his Team Prolapse teammate there doing a good job in second place, XmecOnline, so he'll be getting some very, very strong points. He's obviously teaming up with Laney for this multi-class series. Laney, the GTE representative, and obviously XmecOnline driving the LMP2s. Team Prolapse have got 2 teams in this championship. They've got Laney and XmecOnline, and they've obviously got Maze Gamer and Nicky as well. Nicky wanted to get Sir Ben Parkey in as a replacement tonight, one of our former drivers here at Motive. Also raced in the Formula Renaults last season, took the championship in the Formula Renaults twice. So there's Nicky just coming through the Blanchimont right now, and he's pulled a bit of a gap out to Grandad Steve. Falgest made that mistake there coming through the middle sector. It's dropped him off. He's now well off at the back of this battle here for what is third in class. 5 drivers still left in the GTE category and 7 in the LMP2 class. As Falgest comes into the pits to make his stop now. Muttnuts gained almost another second there on Laney on that previous lap, and is continuing to pull away in the GTE class lead. Laney just doesn't seem to be able to go with him at this point. Still running in a solid P2 though in that Corvette. In fact, him and his teammate XmecOnline both sat in second in their respective classes. So right now, XmecOnline and Laney looking the strongest in terms of the team's championship, because they are currently second in each class. XmecOnline at the LMP2s and Laney at the GTEs. Doing a very, very good job. Good haul of points there for those two. I'm not sure who Champ's teammate is yet. I'm not sure if he's chosen one. But he's still going around in the overall lead at the moment and continuing to completely blitz it in this race. He will have been disappointed with how last week went. Maze obviously blazed the trail, led the race in the early stages and managed to get away. Champ got caught up in a few incidents in the opening few laps. This time around though, no such antics. He's just completely left them in his wake. It's been a solid performance, a superb performance even from Champ since the beginning of this one, and not even halfway through this one yet, but 25 minutes in he looks like he's pretty much unbeatable here at Spa. Touch wood. Muttnuts still running 10 seconds ahead of Laney at the moment. Laney dropping off of the Muttnuts a bit. Muttnuts continuing to do very quick lap times here in this GTE class. 2:18s consistently lap after lap. So Champ continuing to lead this race at the moment. He's got 30 seconds in the LMP2 class lead. XmecOnline still running in second place. He's got 10 seconds back to Civic. Civic though, last few laps has actually been running in XmecOnline a little bit. Last time around 2 seconds quicker, so he could be bringing this fight to XmecOnline as he gets more and more comfortable in that car around Spa. It might be bringing himself into contention for a P2 here. Definitely not out of that fight at the moment. Sebas still running in 4th place, just over a minute off of Champ, the LMP2 class leader. DJPhil doing a good job keeping going in P5. He's got 30 seconds back to this man, Just Jose, who seems to have just had to get past Diabetic Lamb. Diabetic Lamb down to 7th place in the LMP2 class here in this race. Just Jose making progress after a difficult first few laps to this race. As we see Laney coming into the pits to make his pit stop here at the end of lap 13. Oh no, wouldn't be lap 13 for him in the GTE class, but he's got to try something, Laney, because he's dropping off at the back of the Mutsnuts hand over fist. Mutsnuts has just absolutely left the rest of the GTE runners. It wasn't like that to begin with. The gaps weren't so big at the start, but he's just really got into this over the course of it and has started lapping consistently in the 218s. Last one was a 2:19.3 for the Mutsnuts, so dropping off a bit off the pace that we saw earlier, but he's still delivering some very solid lap times, as we see one of the LMP2 runners there, Civic, just putting a lap on him, making his way through into some clean air. Looks like Champ has actually lapped some of his fellow LMP2 runners here. Incredible feat there by Champ. He's just put a lap there on Just Jose and Diabetic Lamb. Champ absolutely flying tonight in these nighttime conditions here at Spa. He's had no problems getting those tyres up to temperature. He's just completely blitzed it since the beginning. Obviously would have been looking to right the wrongs from last week, where he got unlucky at the start, got caught up in a few incidents and ended up being beaten to the LMP2 class win by Maze Gamer by quite some way. Maze obviously not present for this week's, had to send his apologies for this particular round, so he's given Champ an opportunity to really wring the neck of that car and absolutely go hell for leather, try and maximise the points that he can. As we can see there, we've got Just Jose and Diabetic Lamb pretty close here coming onto the brakes. Diabetic Lamb goes a little bit deep into the coon, keeps it together though. Grandest continuing to reel in Nicky. This is for 2nd in the GTE class, but it will be 3rd once they come into the pits, because Laney has already been into the pits to make his stop. With the fuel tanks not lasting the full distance, they will all have to come in at some point throughout the race. But the fuel tank does go more or less all the distance. I think you can go pretty much, I think, about between 5 and 10 minutes from the end of the race on one tank of fuel, so you can push it a long way, just dependent on what sort of balance you like in the tank, I guess. But Nicky's coming into the pits to make his stop. Oh, his Diabetic Lamb goes wide coming through Stavolo, and that's going to have dropped him off at the back of Just Jose, but he's into the wall. Has he given up? Has he calling it a day? I think he is. Diabetic Lamb's retired from the race. He's out of this one. Just over half distance in this race, and he's pulled the he's thrown in the towel. As we see the race leader Champ coming into the pits to make his stop now. Champ looks like he's off and on his way once again. XmecOnline might get past him for a brief moment here, because XmecOnline's obviously still yet to come into the pits to put some fuel in. Champ's on the exit of the pits now, just coming through La Source. I think he might just about get out ahead actually. Yep, he does come out ahead of XmecOnline, so he maintains P1. XmecOnline there coming out of that source there, so he's behind Champ at the moment and most likely going to stay behind him for the rest of the race, because obviously he still needs to come in and get some fuel in the car. He won't go the distance. None of these cars can go the full distance. Every car has to come into the pits at some point throughout the course of the hour. Gap between XmecOnline and Civic's kind of gone up a little bit last couple of laps, so XmecOnline started to respond to Civic. Civic was closing the gap for a few laps, but now it's back up at 12 seconds between the two of them. Sebas still sat there in 4th place, 30 seconds off for the leader Champ. DJPhil continuing to run in 5th place, just over a minute off for the class lead. We've got a GTE car just behind him. I think he's just put a lap there on one of the GTE cars. That's Laney there just behind DJPhil. Jose in the pits to make his stop. He's coming in, end of lap 14 I believe for him. Not a whole lot going on at the moment, to be honest with you. Action's kind of petered out a little bit, as is often the case with multi-classes. Oh, it's Just Jose misses his pit box. Big flash point there, ladies and gentlemen. Just Jose misses his pit box and has to reverse back into place. Lost him a bit of time there. Champ's pulling out the gap to XmecOnline right now, just over 5 seconds between the front two, but obviously XmecOnline needs to come in and put some fuel in the car at some point very, very shortly, we would imagine. Can't imagine he can go much further than what he has at this point. Civic still running about 11-12 seconds behind XmecOnline. Last time around he was about a second quicker, so XmecOnline's definitely not safe and sound in that second place. Civic will be giving him a fight to the end. Sebas is going quicker than both of them, but he's a long way down the road, 20 seconds behind them. But all of those three still got to come in and refuel at some stage. DJPhil also needs to come in at some point in the race. Just Jose's just made his stop. In terms of the GTEs, Laney, Falguest and Nicky have all been in to refuel. The Mutts, Nuts and Grandad Steve, we believe, still need to come in at some point. But Laney's pace dropping off a little bit now. 221s there as we see a flash of the lights there from Steve. Grandad Steve flashing his lights there as we see DJPhil making his way through to put a lap on him. Champ's got to XmecOnline about 6 seconds. To be fair to XmecOnline, he's not losing hand over fist to Champ. Champ's obviously led the race for a while. He's got a big net lead over XmecOnline, but XmecOnline's doing well to just keep with the pace. He's not dropping back by miles. He'll know he needs to come in again, and that will obviously, you know, he knows he's not in a fight with Champ, but he's still giving it a good go. And his last lap he was only about a second off of Champ's pace, which is no mean feat. Champ is extremely good in these LMP2 cars, and I mean extremely good. He's a very, very quick driver in these. Back in the day when we used to have an LMP2 championship here at Motive, he actually did take 5 wins in a row. I believe it was season 5. It was the last season of 2020, season 5 I think it was, and he took 5 consecutive wins in the mid part of the season. It was a weird season actually, because you had Ben and Champ both taking 5 wins each, and yet neither of them won the championship. That was a bit of a head scratcher, to be honest with you. But yeah, Champ looks like he's very much in control at the moment, currently doing the business. 7.5 seconds he's got clear of Xmart. So Champ leading the way, 8 seconds he's got back to Xmart, Civic, Sebas, DJ Phil all need to come into the pits at some point. Champ's already been in and come back out and emerged with the lead still. Just Jose has also been into the pits to make his stop in the LMP2 class. In terms of the GTEs, the Mutts Nuts, Grandad Steve still got to come in. Lady, Falgast and Nicky have all made their pit stops though. So in terms of what we've got to look out for, really it's Xmart and Civic to battle it out for second. I mean, you look at the gap and you see that it's 11 seconds, but it's been like that for some time, and in fact Civic's been taking chunks out of Xmart here and there. Xmart's still running in second, but last lap Civic took 8/10 out of him. If Xmart were to make a mistake, Civic's going to be there, and he's got, I would say at this point, a very slight pace advantage. He's going quicker than him on a general. As a general rule, he's going a little bit quicker than Xmart is, so you know, if Xmart were to go off, then Civic could definitely put that pressure on him. Maybe Civic's just taking a bit of time to get into a rhythm. Maybe he hasn't had time to get practice in. He's sort of jumped on a whim, and you can generally tell when somebody's getting quicker and more confident as the race goes on. Civic's in that situation right now where he's just been getting quicker and quicker lap after lap, and he's gaining in confidence every lap. So maybe he might be able to bring this fight to Xmart in the later stages of this race, who knows. Mutts Nuts, the GTE class leaders in the pits. Grandad C will inherit the GTE class lead, but the Mutts Nuts is off and on his way once again. So in fact, the Mutts Nuts has been in the pits and out of the pits, and emerges still with a GTE class lead despite Grandad Steve still having not come in to make his pit stop. So solid work there from the Mutts Nuts. That is really impressive. As Xmart's coming in to put some fuel in now, does Civic follow suit? Yeah, he does. Civic's coming in as well. One interesting thing to look out for is strategy here, because Xmart and Civic running about 10 seconds apart when they came into the pits, so I wonder if maybe Civic's going to put some fresh tyres on, or Xmart actually has been in that box for a long time. He's obviously got to put fuel in the car in order to get to the end. Does Civic try and underfuel a little bit and maybe try and close the gap that way to Xmart? It doesn't look like it. No, it looks like he's playing it safe and should be getting off right about now or thereabouts. He is being held a little bit in that pit box. I think he's going to emerge probably about somewhere around 15-20 seconds behind Xmart. He is taking a long time in that box, but I wonder if Xmart has underfueled the car to maybe get to the flag a bit quicker. Let's have a little look. 45 litres. 45 litres. We're going to have, so a lap's about 2 minutes, just over 2 minutes. I reckon we're going to have about 8 more laps. These guys are going to do about 8 more laps, maybe 9 at a push. It's probably about 5 litres a lap, I would say. In these LMP2s, they do guzzle up the fuel, but I don't know, it's going to be tight. But in fact, Xmart's got more fuel than Civic has, so he's kind of better prepared for it anyway. And he's still 25 seconds clear of Civic, so I think that Civic may have had a bit less fuel to begin with. That could explain Civic's pace towards the end of that stint, because he was really reeling in Xmart towards the end of that stint. He was kind of he was lapping about almost a second quicker than him per lap, and closed the gap to just under 10 seconds. But maybe the fuel in the car could explain that one. So we'll see now that they've got even fuel in the car, whether or not Xmart's able to just drive off. But 25 seconds that gap between them, now that Civic's had to put all that fuel in the car, means that it's pretty much an insurmountable margin for Xmart to try and, for Civic, sorry, to try and overcome. Sebas currently sat in second place. He's got to put some fuel in the car at some point. He's only got 4 litres in the tank. He's got to come in this lap. He's got to pull the trigger. If he doesn't come in this lap, he's going to run out of fuel. Hopefully he's seen that. Yes, he has. In he comes. DJ Phil coming into the pits. Why? Why? He's got 74 litres in the tank. Oh no, he's coming out of the pits. Sorry. Oh dear. Sorry guys. I commentate for long periods of time on a Saturday night. I've been on the mic for 3.5 hours now, so apologies if my marbles do start to go a little bit. As Sebas comes into the pits to make his stop now. Oh no, DJ Phil's made a mistake. No, it's not DJ Phil. It's just Jose. Just Jose's made a mistake. Coming down the hill. And he's going to be lapped there by Civic, because Civic comes through there. No, it's not Civic. Xmart, sorry. So Xmart puts a lap there on just Jose. Oh, he's had a horror show there. whilst we're here in this little dry spell in the race, ladies and gentlemen, I just want to say a big thank you to everybody who's supporting us on the streams. Just like the video if you haven't already, guys. Drop a like on the video. Let's see if we can get this to 10 likes before we go off air. And if you want to get involved in the on-track racing here at Motive, then go to motiveracing.com. We've got leagues on Project Cars 2, ACC, and soon F1 2021 when it comes out in about a month or so's time, just under a month now until the game comes out. So we'll probably have leagues on it within about, I'd say, 4 or 5 weeks. We should have leagues starting up. Talking of F1 2021 leagues, Just Jose here is the reigning champion of the F1 league. He did a full 23 round season last season, which this man came out on top on in an interesting battle, season long battle with Green Pies. As Just Jose is closing up onto the back of DJ Phil now, so DJ Phil will probably be seeing that on his Delta and will be aware that Just Jose is reeling him in. Has he got what it takes to hold him at bay in these last few laps though? Ten minutes left to go here for the second round of the multi-class series here for the LMP2s and GTEs at Motive Racing. Champ's got almost a minute out the front over Xmart and continuing to pull out that gap. What a superb display of driving it has been from Champ over the course of this evening. Really impressed with the way that he's bounced back from things maybe not really going his way the way he would have hoped for last time out when we were at Monza. Had a very difficult start to his season. A lot of drivers would have probably felt after that like things just weren't going to go their way, but he's got his head down, he's got back in it, and he's delivered a superb performance this evening. Stayed out of trouble in the early stages of the race, just kept going, and he's currently got a massive lead out the front, and it's looking like he's going to bring this one home unless he disconnects. Don't want to put the cursor or anything like that, but I mean, Champ's internet connection was able to stay up for 24 hours for a 24-hour race at another league, so I'm sure it can manage an hour here at Spa. Currently 10 minutes left of this race. Xmart's just put a lap on somebody there. That's actually DJ Phil there that's been lapped by Xmart. No, it isn't DJ Phil, Xmart's just put a lap there on Just Jose, and Xmart's about to put a lap on DJ Phil. As all of these guys making their way past Grandad Steve of the GTE class. Flash the lights there from Just Jose as he makes his way through, and he's looking to try and get onto the back of DJ Phil if he possibly can. Here we go then. Oh, Just Jose really late on the brakes, gives a bit of a tap there as they came through the corner. Xmart gets a tap from one of the lap cars. A flash the lights there. Xmart saying, "What are you doing, son?" DJ Phil holding on ahead of Just Jose, pretty much down to the fact that Just Jose made that contact with Xmart, which lost him a bit of momentum, and DJ Phil for now holding on ahead of Just Jose. But for how much longer is he going to be able to cling on to that position as we're coming down the Kemmel Straight? Still as you were, still DJ Phil holding on for 5th place. Champ's gap to Nicky now officially over a minute. That is mesmerising. That is honestly superb stuff here from Champ. Dips under a minute there, but with the absence of May's gamer, Champ probably knew this is his opportunity to really go grab some points. He's stepped up to the plate absolutely brilliantly. And we all knew he had the pace to challenge Maze and possibly beat him last week at Monza, but it was just down to the start. He got involved in a few too many incidents which really halted his progress, and it just stopped him from being able to climb back up the order. He got punted off at the first corner, then every time he seemed to be getting back on his feet, he got pushed back down again. Constantly, every single time he tried to make progress, somebody or something would stop him as he tried to turn things around. But he just kept going, and this time out he's responded to that. Just over a minute he's got in the lead ahead of Xmec. He's completely ridden off into the sunset, and barring any simply massive catastrophes, he should be able to take this one home for the win. In the meantime, your GTE class leader is the Nuts, and he's got about 10-second gap back to Laney. Sat in second in class. Laney's done well in this race. He's not let Nuts completely relax. Nuts are coming through Lacombe. Laney just coming up down the camera straight towards Lacombe now. So Laney's done a solid job here in this one, as he's on his personal best first sector at the moment as well, so he's still pushing it, giving it everything, maybe hoping that the Nuts might have a bit of a slip towards the end and possibly gift him the win, but the Nuts has been ever so consistent throughout the course of this. I'd be very, very surprised if he were to throw it all away now. Just wouldn't be what you would expect in any way, as he's done a superb job here. Grandad Steve took the opening round for the GTE class, but this one looks like it is going to go the way of the Nuts, as Nuts is about to be lapped here by Xmec, and just shows that he's going to also follow through as well to put a lap on the GTE class leader. Champ looks like he's about to put a lap here on Sebas. Obviously both of the LMP2 class. Champ will be hoping that Sebas moves over without too much fuss, but saying that though, last lap Sebas actually matched Champ, both of them in the 204s. Sebas clearly doesn't want to go a lap down here in this race. We'll have to see if he's got any answer to Champ, or is Champ going to breeze past and make mincemeat of him. Nuts still leading the way for the GTE class. He's pulled up. No, he hasn't actually. Laney has taken a second and a half out of Nuts on the last lap, so Nuts' tyres may be starting to go off a little bit. Laney's clearly looked after his. He's got them in mint condition. How many more laps are we going to have though? That's the question. I reckon we're going to have 2 more laps. So they're just starting what is their third to last lap. The gap between the two of them, the Nuts is on his personal best in the first sector. He's flying now. He's clearly seen the gaps coming down. Let's count the gap. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7.5 seconds. The gap between those two. Oh, as we see Civic there going very late on the brakes, trying to get that move done there. Trying to get in some clean air ahead of Laney. Oh, 2 Team Prolapse teammates there having a bit of a ding dong as Civic tries to come through and put a lap on him. He's fallen out of that fight. Oh, Civic's actually been quicker than Xmec in the final part of this race. I wonder if he put some fresh tyres on when he came in, held him up a bit in the pit stops, because he was in the pits for a long old time, and he came out of the pits about 25 seconds behind Xmec. The gap between them is now 20 seconds. Just under 20 seconds, 19 seconds, 18, 19 seconds. He's brought it down by about 6 or 7 seconds, so Civic's clearly had the pace in the later part of this race. So I wonder if he did put in some fresh tyres maybe, that's giving him that momentum. coming into these closing stages. But I guess we might never know the answer, but ultimately he's had the pace in this last part of the race, but it's just not going to be enough at this late stage. As Champ is still leading by 1 minute and 10 seconds ahead of Xmark, as he's going to be about to start one more lap here as Champ. I'm sure he'll be grinning from ear to ear with having the lead of this race and having taken it in such dominant fashion. As long as he's got enough fuel in the tank, yeah, he should be alright. 9.5 litres left, so he'll be able to make it to the end rather comfortably. Oh, as he gives Sebas a big tap in the rear there as he flashed his lights, saying, what are you doing? As Sebas makes a meal of getting him past, and they're side by side out of the last corner. Let's hope that Sebas doesn't play any games here. Coming up towards La Source, onto the brakes. No, Champ's gonna close the door there. Sebas is trying to come back at him here. He's a back marker, so he shouldn't really be doing that, but he's done it anyway. Now Champ's going to have the outside, and he's going to have the preferred line coming into Eau Rouge, and he's going to surely cover that one off and hold on to the position there. But Sebas is not done. Sebas is not done at all. He's still giving it the big one here. Champ flashing his lights, saying, come on, sort it out, stop playing silly buggers. And Sebas returning the gesture, so clearly there's a little bit of tension between these two. Sebas clearly doesn't think he should be a lap down in this race. He was matching Champ in the qualifying session. Champ obviously has put in the work, is a lap ahead of him purely on merit, and is saying, come on, sort it out. Sebas still flashing his lights in the background. Champ's having none of it, not even interested anymore. He says to Sebas, you've had your fun, now the fun's stopped. And he's going to drive off now. It is Champ. Sebas still flashing his lights, but no, Champ is returning the gesture. There we go. I thought he was leaving him hanging out to dry there, but he's still indulging him, which is it's nice. It's good to see. Gap between the Mutsnuts and Laney coming down lap after lap. Laney's saved his best form for the end. He's lapping consistently now in the 218s, 219s, and he's the gap between these two now, I'd say around 5 seconds, but I think he's going to run out of laps, and is this going to be the last lap for the GTEs? I'm not sure whether they finish the race at the 0 mark or if they finish the race after the LMP2s. No, they continue until the LMP2s have crossed the line, so it's only once the overall winner has crossed the line, that's when the race is over. So Champ coming in towards the bus stop. Here he comes out of the last corner. It's going to be a victory for Champ. Round 2 of the season goes to Champ here, the winner of the Splash and Dash for our event back in December. He takes the second round of the LMP2 GTE multi-class series for the LMP2 category, and he'll be definitely striking fear into May's gamer after that win. May's obviously not present for this week, but he'll be back next week to try and stake a claim to the top step off the Champ's amazing performance tonight. Xmark's going to come round in second place. He's just coming in towards campus now, so he's got about half a lap left to go here in this one. He's 20 seconds clear of Civic, who's sat in third place right now. Gap between Mutsnuts and Laney is about 3.5 seconds now, so it's really tight. Let's see if Mutsnuts has got enough fuel. He has. He's got more than enough fuel. Laney's only got 4 litres in the tank, so he will, I think, just about make it to the end, but it's going to be quite tight between these two, I've got to say. Xmark coming out of the bus stop chicane. It's going to be a second place finish for him here. Him and his teammate Laney both taking second place finishes here in this race. He crosses the line behind one of the GTE runners there. That's Nicky crossing over the line to finish in 4th in class. Mutsnuts and Laney coming in towards the final sector of this lap, though. It's about 2 or 3 seconds between them, but the Mutsnuts is going to hold on. Maybe about 2 or 3 more laps and Laney might have been able to take the class win, but it's not worked out for him. Just shows he's disconnected there right at the end. I think that was actually I think he's just got fed up. The Mutt's out of the last corner, not fed up. You know, he's obviously finished the race and that's it for him. But the Mutt's coming out of the last corner. He's going to take the GTE class win at Spa. Laney gave him a very, very solid showing and gave him a little bit of something to think about towards the end. But he comes over to take a second place. Xmart and Laney taking 2 second places here and scoring more points than any other team out there. Grandad's D coming over the line to complete the podium for the GTE class. Civic came over to take third and complete the podium for the LMP2s. Falguest out of sorts tonight, 4th place in GTEs for him. Sorry, 5th even behind Nicky. Nicky taking a great 4th place there ahead of Falguest. Falguest, I don't think Spa's really his sort of track. He's a very quick driver, is Falguest, but clearly not at the races today for whatever reason. But M. Afford completing the classification, disqualified from the race on lap 9. I reckon that might have been for pit lane, speeding in the pit lane maybe. But podium finishers, Champ, Xmart and Civic for the LMP2s, the Mutt's, Laney and Grandad's D for the GTEs. We lost the Bean Basher, Diabetic Lamb to name a couple. M. Afford disqualified from the race in the early stages. A couple more drivers unfortunately did not make it to the end. But to those who finished the race, to those who turned up, to those who watched us on the stream and liked the video, a big thank you. Drop a like on the video, guys, if you haven't already. We're at 9 likes. If we can get this video to 10 likes before we get off air, it would be enormously appreciated. All the support, it means the world to us. So if you want to drop a like, then make it 10. Give us some double figures here on this video. But from all of us here at Motive Racing, it's a big thank you for joining us. Make sure you join us tomorrow night for the ACC GT3 Leagues, followed by the Touring Cars and Project Cars 2. I'll be covering the entirety of the streams and the commentaries for that one, so make sure you join us tomorrow night, guys. Have a great evening, and we'll catch you in the next one. And we'll catch you in the next one.